Hello everybody, this is Pitchskull Black here, and welcome to the Skulls Channel Reviews episode 60, or what is the 61st book review on the channel, in which today I'm going to be looking at what actually opened the entire Lethbridge Stewart range of The Forgotten Son. Now, just to put a little bit of a disclaimer at the beginning of this video, I was originally meant to review this book as well as Night of the Intelligence, but before that I was also meant to review The Abominable Snowmen and The Web of Fear targets as sort of one sort of big sort of book review story arc, in a way to sort of have 4 reviews all sorts of connected together to celebrate the 50th anniversary of The Great Intelligence. However, I completely cocked up and missed the 50th anniversary of The Great Intelligence, as it was on the 30th of September, and for whatever reason I thought it was on the 25th of October. I have no idea why, but it happened, and it just happened. So that's why I sort of brought to you guys the 50th anniversary commentary streams on The Abominable Snowmen that I did a couple weeks ago now. But yeah, I was originally meant to review those 2 target books, this book I'm reviewing today, and Night of the Intelligence, but that's all sort of changed now, and I'm sort of going through a very sort of limboic phase with these books, book review. So today I'll be reviewing The Forgotten Son, and hopefully tomorrow I'll be reviewing Night of the Intelligence. Web of Fear target review, I'm pretty confident that it will no longer be happening, but Abominable Snowmen I still would like to try and get out someday, but just not right now, as I need to sort of figure a way around the problems I'm having with the review, or completely restructure the review, which I don't particularly want to do. But either ways, today I am here to review The Forgotten Son. So if there is any sort of like references to other book reviews in this video that I haven't even done, that you guys may pick up on and I may miss, that is why that sort of happens, because this might be referencing my Abominable Snowmen target review that hasn't even happened yet. So anyways, you guys get the picture, and with that disclaimer out of the way, let us begin my 61st Doctor Who book review on the channel by taking a look at the presentation of this Doctor Who book. So we have, from the classic era of Doctor Who, Lethbridge Stewart logo, The Forgotten Son, Andy Frankham Allen, forward by Terrance Dicks, also against this sort of nice sort of parchment-like cover, with the main sort of illustration itself being the floating head of Gordon Alistair Lethbridge Stewart, if I've gotten his name right, with the sun, with the sort of house in the background there, with all sort of nice nice storm effects, with a sort of nice light burst out there, with a Yeti right there with its sort of claws around the Great Intelligence pyramid, with some sort of nice sort of ethereal sort of splotches or effects sort of radiating out of the pyramid, with the Forgotten Son, the titular character, the Forgotten Son, standing right there. And then we have the spine, Lethbridge Stewart logo, Lethbridge Stewart, The Forgotten Son, Andy Frankham Allen, Candy Jar. And then for the back we have the synopsis, a shrunken down or enlarged bit of the cover, which is a nice reference to The Web of Fear, as you've gotten the rail tracks from the London Underground right there. Quite like that. And then there you've got cover by Simon Williams, and then you've got the sort of main sort of price and sort of copyright sort of stuff thing on the back of the Lethbridge Stewart book, sort of covered up there by a sticker my Waterstones put over this book. But yeah, there's a little comparison of what it should look like on my copy of Times Squared. But yeah, now with the sort of presentation of the book out of the way, with all the presentation of the back, time for the synopsis. The Havoc Files. Lethbridge Stewart makes a splendid foil and contrast to the fantastical worlds of Doctor Who. He deserves his immortality. Terrance Dicks. when Colonel Alistair Lethbridge Stewart of the Scots Guards is recalled from Libya to help combat the Yeti incursion in London, he finds himself on the front line fighting robotic soldiers of an alien intelligence, or an alien entity known as the Great Intelligence. With the British government still reeling at the proof of alien life, what connects these events to the seemingly quiet Cornish village of Beldo? And just what has it all got to do with Lethbridge Stewart? A brand new series of novels set just after the Doctor Who serial The Web of Fear, featuring the characters and concepts created by Mervyn Haseman and Henry Lincoln. And then for the interior of this Doctor Who book, we have Lethbridge Stewart, The Forgotten Son, based on the BBC television series by Mervyn Haseman and Henry Lincoln. Andy Frankham Allen, forward by Terence Dix, Candy Jar Books, Cardiff, A. Russell and Frankham Allen, series 2015. And then there you've got various copyright guff, and me having a troll sneeze. Dedication to the memories of Mervyn Haseman and Nicholas Courtney, and thanks to Henry Lincoln and Hannah Haseman, without whom a lot of research was needed to get to the period details right. However, mistakes will almost certainly have been made, some intentionally, and yada yada. If you spot any, just think of it this way. This is the fictional reality of Doctor Who. Not everything happens exactly as it does in the real world. The same can be said for continuity with other Doctor Who. Not everything connects perfectly, such as the nature of a universe in which time travellers exist and constantly disrupts the timelines. Then we have a forward by Terence Dix, and then the start of this Doctor Who book. This is a 269 page long Doctor Who book spread across a prologue, an epilogue, as well as 15 core chapters. And then at the very back of the book we have, if I was to get to it, well, the sort of interesting thing about this is there's an epilogue here, and this continues into another Lethbridge, and it's set here to continue in another Lethbridge Stewart book called Horror of Detsen by Lance Parkin. And then there you've got the sort of coming soon for Horror of Detsen by Lance Parkin. And what this is, this book was meant to be a multi-part novel in a way, with the sort of it being its own self-contained adventure, but then continuing on into this next Lethbridge Stewart novel called Horror of Detsen. And what happened was, the tease and this little sort of coming soon for Horror of Detsen was printed in the first editions of The Forgotten Son, but what happened in the end was that not The Forgotten Son, but Horror of Detsen was never completed, nor even published, or was never published nor even completed because of disagreements between the runner of the books, Andy Frankham Allen, and the writer of Horror of Detsen, Lance Parkin. So yeah, the first editions of the book, which is what this is, had that continuation and this sort of tease for Horror of Detsen. But when sort of Horror of Detsen sort of fell through, the sort of cliffhanger was actually resolved into the next, or was resolved in the next Lethbridge Stewart book published, The Schizoid Earth. So the first editions of the book have the sort of tease and cliffhanger for Horror of Detsen, but the second editions don't, because the second edition sort of removed that from the printing of it, which is a really interesting sort of thing to have in this book, and it's sort of in a way a ghost of a Doctor Who book, which is quite awesome. So if you're looking down, so I would say try and get the first edition of The Forgotten Son, as it's a lot more interesting to have that sort of bit of history in the back of it. Then there we've got a sort of tease for The Schizoid Earth, Mutually Assured Domination, and then there you've got a bit about the book, or a bit about the book written by Andy Frankham Allen. So yeah, with the presentation of this Doctor Who book out the way with, what is the general consensus, and my own personal thoughts and opinions on The Forgotten Son by Andy Frankham Allen. The general consensus of this Lethbridge Stewart debut, it has an average rating of 3.89 out of 5 on Goodreads, and generally positive reviews, with many 4-star ratings and a few 5 stars. Do I agree or disagree with the general consensus? Let us find out in this review. The Web of Fear, ever since it hit the screens in the 60s, has been held high in fan society as one of the all-time greats of Doctor Who, and a true achievement of Season 5, a story so magnificent in production the BBC even got into trouble with the London Underground. Fans have always longed for a recovery of the story, which was even further perpetuated by the recovery of episode 1 all the way back in 1978. Finally, 25 years after that, fans got their dreams granted with the finds of episodes 2, 4, 5 and 6 announced in 2013, along with the missing episodes 1, 2, 4, 5 and 6 of Enemy of the World. Having spoken to a person that has actually seen Web of Fear on original transmission, who is actually one of my teachers, believe it or not, it's very interesting to see the sheer effect this story has had on the world of Doctor Who and its fans. Through that and the general fan base this story has had throughout the many years. Whereas I'd say it's a tiny bit overrated to an extent, as I personally do prefer The Abominable Snowmen when it comes to Yeti stories. It's hard to deny what this story does good. It does amazingly. The atmosphere, the tension, the sets, the music, the performances, and who can forget that battle scene from episode 4? Holy crap, that was just magnificent. May not be the greatest Doctor Who story in my personal opinion, but it is very hard to deny how important and influential of a Doctor Who story it is. Sequels to the stories have always been in fans' dreams, from the cancelled Laird of McLuhan to the fan film Downtime and others, but it is here that I feel that a sequel to Web can truly be loved throughout the community. I've always compared this book to the Daleks' Master Plan and said that it's basically the Web of Fear being doubled in length like that story was. From my recent reread, I would say that is now the same, but mixed at the same time with the other William Hartnell story, The Ark. The Web of Fear and this feel very much like two different 6-part Doctor Who stories, but are very much connected all the same. The Forgotten Son I'd like to imagine as a book in 6 different phases, much like how the Web of Fear was realised, with it plopping the Doctor and company in the London Underground in the first, with the second episode building the story even more and introducing us to the soldiers and the stories being taken from there. Phase/episode 1 of The Forgotten Son introduces us to the story, not really giving too much away at this point, and it is just basically showcases a London trying to rebuild after the devastation that the Web of Fear has had on it. A couple months after that story took place timeline-wise, with the Yetis and Great Intelligence just being hinted at this point. Phase 2 really starts to build a story with more layers being added to the devastated London, with the Yetis becoming much more foreboding in the storyline, and the character piece at the side of the story of Lethbridge Stewart. Phases 3, 4 and 5 all serve as character piece parts, when Lethbridge Stewart finding out more about his past and the Yeti storyline being unravelled more and more and more. The latter half of Phase 5 and the whole of Phase 6 act as a big finale for the book, showcasing many answers to the book for questions previously asked in other episodes or phases. This is a generally solid book that I would say, as a fan of the Web of Fear like myself, this is an absolute must to be purchased. A slight stumble happens in episode 6 where it's said that the Great Intelligence apparently used the internet to spread itself, which would make no sense, as this story is literally set after a few months after the Web of Fear, which was set in the 1960s, so the internet was only in early experimental stages possibly, and not even publicly available. But other than that, I can't really find anything wrong with this book. It's just a solid, fascinating, engaging piece of fan service, really, that I would recommend highly. This is a complex, multifaceted, layered character piece that continues the web of fear greatly and opens up the Lethbridge Stewart range of books magnificently. And I will definitely say that this book deserves no less than a 9 out of 10.